The Zodiac Killer is one of the most notorious killers in America today. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to Daily Night News, and today I'm going to be telling you guys about the Zodiac Killer. So if you guys don't already know, the Zodiac Killer was an unidentified murderer in the late 60s who has still not been discovered today. To this day, there is a crazy murderer that has not been caught. Basically, this person operated in the San Francisco Bay Area, and the Zodiac Killer used cryptic coded messages to give the police clues as to who they were. Actually, many of these messages were left unsolved because of how hard it was to decode these messages. And throughout the years, the police were able to actually narrow it down to a few suspects, but none of them were ever confirmed to be the killer. So it's a little interesting. Really fast, I just wanted to add that the Zodiac Killer was supposedly doing this for media attention. Like, he would give like clues to who he was just for the police attention. The first killing actually was from 1968, and he killed 2 teenagers who traveled to Benicia, California. And from then on, his suspects were like couples. Like, he would kill couples in like quiet places, and he would do it in the most like terrifying ways, and just to get the most attention from the police. So it's kind of like he was playing the police in a way. Just to give you guys a few suspects: Richard Marshall, Jack Terrence, Lawrence Kane, and Arthur Leigh Allen, who was actually the most notorious one of the bunch to be accused, or some of the suspects that the police thought was the Zodiac Killer, but was never confirmed. The peculiar case of the Zodiac Killer altered the way that society overall began to think about murderers, and reformed the way the police and the investigators took on the murder cases. The Zodiac Killer often had their cryptograms and letters published in the newspaper, and people would actually look in the newspaper to see like what the latest messages were or the new information on the Zodiac Killer. And in the 70s, there was actually a rise in interest in murderers and killers, and more people began to make like books and films about this case. And the first movie about this killer was released in 1971, and the latest docuseries was aired just last year. As the killer went completely unknown for decades, despite the constant taunting of the police department, people questioned their tactics. Why were they unable to track down the Zodiac Killer? DNA testing did not actually exist at the time, so it was hard to track them down just from the letters that were received. The Zodiac Killer murdered at least 5 people, and the police were handed a ton of evidence just from the killer himself. Although later it was revealed in one of the messages that the Zodiac Killer actually allegedly killed 35 people. Phone calls, letters, codes, and many of those things could have been the key to actually solving this crime. The fact the police let many people die because they weren't able to apprehend the Zodiac Killer made the police seek to rapidly advance technology, so a case like this would never happen again. The Zodiac Killer is now one of the most notorious killers in American history, and is referenced in a lot of pop culture. In the 60s, it would be unthinkable by many to even find entertainment or interest in these kinds of heinous crimes and crazy murders. But this case sparked a new interest in the lives of serial killers. Today there are hundreds of movies, podcasts, and more that people watch just for fun regarding serial killers and crazy murderers. So now you guys understand how this case it was so impactful to society. And now that I'm done explaining to you guys who this person was, I'd like to share how this affected us now and how it affected us then. So just in conclusion, this case of the Zodiac Killer not only made police want to kind of improve their ways and develop more so that they are able to solve crimes like this in the future, but it also kind of sparked the interest in serial killers as a whole. I mean, just think about it. How many of you guys like watching scary movies? Because I know I do. And just to think that this case is like one of the reasons that I like, you know, this type of stuff, investigating these crimes and crazy murders, it's just crazy to me, honestly. So, just to repeat, the peculiar case of the Zodiac Killer altered the way that society overall began to think about murders and reformed the way that police and investigators took on murder cases. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I hope this helped you guys understand a little bit more why the Zodiac Killer was so important to history. And yeah, bye. Could have been the key. The Zodiac Killer. It's one of the Alright, one more time. The Zodiac. Wait. Hey guys, welcome back to. It's definitely. Alright, what if I move back? They were people would actually look in the newspaper for the latest messages, because they were interested. Cryptograms and letters published in the newspaper. The Zodiac Killer often had their cryptograms. Do you think that you can figure out the puzzles? Do you think that you can? Okay.